Hello students, today we are going to discuss the next poem, that is the Ball poem. The poet is John Berryman. Let's first know about the poet. John Berryman was an American poet and scholar. He is best known for the Dream Songs, which was a sequence of 385 poems. He won Pulitzer Prize for the Dream Songs. He also won National Book Award. Let us see the theme of the poem. The poet John Berryman, through his poem The Ball poem, has described the reality of life, which everyone has to face one day. You know, life is not a bed of roses. It is filled with joys and sorrows are also an inherent part of our life. So here, how do we handle the sorrow? How do we tackle the losses? That has been described. He has touched the topic of how to stand up against the miseries and sorrows of life. You know that life should be kept on going. It doesn't stop even if in the face of adversities. So how to stand and how to move on and taking all the responsibilities and how you become acquainted about loss, become familiar about loss has been described in this poem. So this poem is didactic in a way. Let us see the first stanza. But before we read the first stanza, remember that this poem has been written in free verse. That means there is no rhyming scheme that is followed. Second thing, remember that there has been symbolism used in the poem, and ball is actually a symbol. Ball actually represents an association of worldly belongings. Our loved ones, our relatives, friends, and others we care for. They can be living or they can be non-living. So it symbolizes the sweet memories of one's childhood and our young and innocent days. Here, remember that symbolism is actually a representation or a figure of speech in which it can be any object, it can be a person, it can be a situation which has another meaning than its literal meaning. Let us first begin with the poem. Now, as a beginning, as a warm-up, something has been given in your textbook. That is, it reads like this: a boy loses a ball. He is very upset. So, little information has been given. A ball doesn't cost much, nor is it difficult to buy another ball. Why then is the boy so upset? Read the poem to see what the poet thinks has been lost and what the boy has to learn from the experience of losing something. You know, every problem teaches you something. There is a learning in everything. So let us see what is happening in this poem in the first stanza. That there is a small boy, a very small boy, a kid. What is the boy now who has lost? And when he was playing with the ball, his ball actually bounces down the street and it falls into a water body, a harbor. And now you know that it cannot be brought back. So this boy is standing and he is gazing and looking at the ball which is floating or which has immersed in the water body. And he is feeling very, very sad that this is a big loss. This can also be the first loss in his life. So what is the boy now who has lost his ball? So what is he thinking? What is he experiencing? And this is the first grief that he has experienced in his life, that he has understood the meaning of possession, that he has possessed something, he has owned something, and now he is parted with something. Remember, in the first two lines, the first two lines begins with what. So anaphora has been used here. What is he to do? I saw it go. And the poet was actually observing the boy as well as the ball rolling down and falling into the water, and how he is upset and he is looking at the ball which has dipped in the water, which has fallen in the water. And how has the ball gone down? Merrily bouncing. Merrily means very happily. It seems as though it is enjoying and happily moving and bouncing on. As you throw, a ball bounces and it goes down the street further, and then it disappears. And then merrily over, there it is in the water. And finally, what has happened? That this ball has fallen into the water. Merrily over is seen that there it is in the water. Merrily is happy or cheerful. Bouncing, is jumping. Now, what are the literary devices that are used in this paragraph? Anaphora. It is the use of repeated words we have seen in the first and the second line. What has been the word which is beginning with which the line is beginning with. Assonance is a repeated use of vowel O sound, and we can note this in boy, noun, who, and lost. Imagery. Yes, we can imagine, we can think, we can visualize everything that is happening before us. The small boy is standing and how the ball is bouncing down the street and it has fallen into the water. So here we can see that how the boy is very upset at the loss of a ball. Let us see the second stanza. Yes. So we have already seen that the boy is very sad and he is standing there. Why is he sad? He is sad because this ball actually personifies his young days and the happy innocent memories. There were a lot of memories attached to this ball, and this has finally fallen and he is not able to take it back. So all those memories have also drowned along with this object, that is the ball. And now the boy is experiencing a loss. Loss maybe for the first time. The loss is not big, it is minor, but it is still valued. For a small kid, even a ball is a valued possession. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. The poet is actually saying that I can easily go and tell the boy that don't worry. There are many other balls. Don't cry. Don't be in grief for this ball. You can get another. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. But he is all grief stricken and he plunges into grief just because, and this is ultimate shaking. Ultimate means this boy is deeply affected. He is extremely shaken by the loss because he has experienced loss for the first time. We as grown-ups have already become immune to losses, or we are less affected because we have already experienced many kinds of losses. Maybe it can be an object, or it can be the loss of any near and dear one also. All are possessed by us, and whenever we lose something, we are very sad. Maybe for a thing we are less sad, but for human beings and their loss, we are very, very grief stricken, and it takes a lot of time for us to make up with the loss. As he stands rigid, He is standing there like a statue. Maybe he is in disbelief what has happened. Trembling, he is shivering, he is shaking, staring down, and he is looking into these gloomy waters, staring that where is my ball, as if the ball would come back. All his young days into the harbor where. Now, what does this mean? All his young days. You know that this ball, which can also be a metaphor here, is with this ball, all the memories attached with the ball have flashed, and there is a realization that those memories would never come back. So he is just standing rigid and firm and stiff and upset there, and he is just gazing at the ball into the harbor where, and the ball has gone into the harbor. Harbor is a port, so it's a dock or a port. So trembling is shaking. The ball has gone into the port, and the ball cannot be taken back. I would not intrude on him. I would not invade him. I would not interrupt him. I would not disturb him him and his personal grief that is experienced for the first time. I would not intrude on him a dime, another ball. A dime means just 10 cents are required to buy another ball, but that is worthless. That new ball does not have all the memories and the possession and the attachment which he had with the first ball. So, though it is not a big loss, he can easily give him 10 cents that, boy, you just buy another ball. But no, now he senses first responsibility. He stops himself. The poet is stopping himself to tell the boy, to make him realize on his own that what is the feeling of losing something and what is the sense of responsibility that now he would realize, he would feel. So giving the ball is worthless and useless because it is a lesson of life that he has to take from this. This is the first experience. There would be many, many experiences more in life where you would be losing many things and many dear ones. Let us move. In the third stanza, we see that in a world of possessions, you know that if we have all come to this world, we possess a lot of things, lot of possessions are there, and whenever there are a lot of possessions, a lot of belongings, lot of relations, loss is inevitable. It cannot be avoided. It will, and it is bound to come somewhere in your life sooner or later. People will take balls, balls will be lost always. It could be possible that people will snatch away or grab away your ball, or you could carelessly also lose your balls permanently. So loss is a part of life. And no one buys a ball back. You know, every ball, every possession is irreplaceable because the memories attached with it cannot be bought back. Even if you are very rich, you have a lot of money, you cannot buy your memories or something that is lost even with your money. Money is external. It is not that powerful that it can buy memories. It cannot replace memories. It cannot buy things like love, relations, or such valuable possessions which are lost. So even if you are rich, you would have to experience loss. He is learning, and it is a long process of learning that has just started in his life. He is learning that well. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. Though his eyes are still desperate and hoping to get the ball back because he is in a state of disbelief. It is the first time he is experiencing loss. But he is learning. He is learning the true nature of life, that in life we keep on losing things, relations. It could be many other things. We can lose our aims, our goals. It can be many things we can lose in our life. These losses can be small, big. They can shatter life sometimes, but you have to be courageous. You have to be strong enough, and you have to move on in life, because life goes on. Life never stops for anybody. The epistemology of loss, the knowledge or the true nature of loss, is being understood by this boy for the first time, with his ball being lost. And how to stand up. He is learning how to stand up, how to face it, and how to move on. Knowing what every man must one day know. And this is an essential nature. This is an essential thing that everybody should know, that loss is a part of life, and we should be strong enough to deal with it, to move on with it. And most know many days. And yes, all the people, especially the grown-ups, have experienced many kinds of losses, and they are well familiar with it, and they are resilient enough to face it, to have the courage, and to stand strongly even in the face of adversity and move on, because life will never stop and losses are a part of life. How to stand up? So we all have to learn. So here we see that in this poem, poet wants to convey the importance of loss and responsibility in life. Things, possessions will be lost in life, and money cannot replace them all. Our childhood flies by, and how we should grow up and face hardships are being taught in this poem. As life goes on, no matter how much it hurts inside, it is the theory of evolution and survival. One needs to learn to accept and let go and not cling to something. Past is gone and cannot revert back. Losses are inevitable. Face it with courage and patience. Death is also inevitable. So some near and dear ones, your family members, would always be lost in your life. Money cannot bring our loved ones from the clutches of death. Money has its own limitations, and loss leads to a lot of grief and depression. But still, we should be strong enough, courageous enough, and move on. The first loss can be a ball, but in your life you will experience greater losses. I hope you would have understood this poem well. Please try to revise it nicely.